Hello everyone, so today we are going to discuss the second video of ancient Indian history, and today the topic of video is Chalcolithic Age and Indus Valley Civilization. We will see the basic introduction of it. Okay, so let us start. So previously we dealt till the Neolithic revolution, and we came to know how this Neolithic revolution was very much important for the development of civilization. And we also dealt with three of the phases, which were the Paleolithic phase, then Mesolithic, and then the Neolithic. So one more phase which can be seen as a prehistoric phase, which is our Chalcolithic phase. So that we are going to deal today, and we'll also see the basic introduction of Indus Valley Civilization, and after that in the next video we will deal totally with the Indus Valley Civilization. Okay, so if you have not watched our first video, then I will suggest watching the first video first. Okay, now Chalcolithic farming culture. So what was this? The end of Neolithic age saw the use of metal. So what was the very first metal which was used by people? So the very first metal which was used was copper. Okay, so copper was the very first metal, and this was the phase wherein people started using copper along with stone implements. So basically Chalcolithic period means, or Chalcolithic culture means, a culture wherein the stone tools or implements are made up of copper as well as stones. Okay, so this is also an important point to note, that in many parts of subcontinent Chalcolithic culture appeared after Bronze Age Harappan culture. In some instances it appeared before, but in most of the instances it appeared after Harappan culture. Okay, so this is one important point you should understand. Then this culture was primarily rural, and that is one of the cause behind we calling it a culture and not a civilization. Okay, so what was the reason, what were the areas where this culture was prevalent? So in southeastern Rajasthan there were two sites which were Ahar site and Ahar culture and Gilan culture. Okay, which were in Banas Valley. Banas is a river there. So the Banas Valley had these two sites. Okay, then in western Madhya Pradesh we had Malwa, Kaitha, and Iran culture. So Malwa ware is very famous because it is one of the richest ceramic of that period. Then we have Jorve culture, which was in western Maharashtra, and the sites in this include Jorve, Nevasa, Daimabad, Chandoli, Saogaon, and Inamgaon, and also the Prakash and Nasik. And then again in Maharashtra only, near Narmada Valley, we have Navadatoli. So these are some of the important sites, and you should be knowing all these sites. Okay, very well, remember by name. Okay, then in eastern India you have Chirand, Pandu Raja Devi. Basically it is a Bengali term, Pandu Raja Devi, which was located in Bardhaman and Mahish Dal in West Bengal. And in Bihar you had Sinnuar, then Sonpur, then Taradi, and in UP you had Kairadi and Narhan. So these are the names taken from NCERT. So that is why these are very important. You should just give a look. Now see, sometimes the mind map they use us, they help us to remember things better. So you can see the Chalcolithic site has been divided in mind maps. Southeastern Rajasthan, that is Ahar and Gilan culture. In Ahar culture you have copper implements, basically copper tools, it will be tools. Okay, so copper tools were abundant and stone axes and blades were absent. So here predominantly copper tools were used because it is very near to Khetri mines in Rajasthan, and Giland is also very near to it. Then in eastern India we had Chirand, then Bardhaman and Midnapur district, and here one of the thing which is found is fish hook. And then in western Maharashtra we have Malwa culture, then Kaitha culture and Iran culture. So in Malwa culture, what we have found spindle hoards have been discovered that says and that point that cotton were used during that period and clothes were made of it. And Kaitha we have 29 copper bangles, that is a hoard of copper implements has been found, and necklace of semi precious stones such as steatite and carnelian beads has been found. Then we have in Maharashtra, what are those? Those are Jorve culture. Then uh, all this side will come under Jorve culture only. So what are those? Nivasa, Daimabad, Chandoli, Inamgaon, Nasik and Navdatoli. Okay, so at Jorbe we have flat rectangular copper axes, and at Chandoli we have copper sigils. At Inamgaon we have figures of mother goddess, which says they used to worship mother goddess, and evidences of rice cultivation is also found at Inamgaon. So now some of the quick fact about this Chalcolithic period. So you can note down these facts and remember. The very first fact is art of writing was absent during this period. There was no script during this period. The second point is tool having stone blades have been found in abundance. Then people knew spinning and weaving, as we already discussed. In Malwa we have spindles, okay, which points towards this. Then cotton and silk have been found in Maharashtra. Then domesticated animals and practiced agriculture. But here one more point is people consumed beef during this period. So there is a also one important point is that and during those period the people they used to think that consuming milk is not good for humans, that is meant just for the calf, so we should not consume milk, rather than we should eat meat. Okay, so they did not make full use of their cattle as they were not milching their cattle. So slash and burn or jhum or podu cultivation was followed. So you might be knowing what is this. So podu is the same is the term for jhum cultivation only. So no intensive cultivation as iron was not yet discovered, and copper is very malleable and it will bend when you will try to plow the field with it. The rate of infant mortality was very high, and the reason for this was weakness in agriculture. Then cattle was not exploited completely, an epidemic might have come, or absence of medical knowledge. And why we see that rate of infant mortality was very high? Because there have been a lot of graves where children are found. Then wheat, rice, bajra and pulses, especially pulses, were produced or grown, and these are found at Navdatoli near the bank of river Narmada. Then cotton and millets were grown because that is the area where black soil is found, and that is why they were grown here. Then fishing was done in Bihar and Bengal, and we know that Bengali people they use mach bhat, so you can relate. And this is one of the region from this period only they have started eating rice and fish. Okay, they were not aware of burnt bricks, so they were not using it. They were using houses were made up of mud bricks rather than burnt bricks, and thatched houses were also made. At Ahar, in Ahar culture, stone built stones were used to build houses. In Maharashtra, dead were buried in urns under their houses. Especially in Inamgaon, there is a special case which is given in NCERT, and they were generally placed in north-south direction in Maharashtra. But as you will go to South India, you will find that dead were buried in east-west direction. They venerated mother goddess and bulls, and that is the figurines of mother goddess is present at Inamgaon, which we discussed. So beginning of social inequality also started here, as can be seen in the settlement and burial patterns, because some of the settlements are very good while others are not so good, and the same is the case with burials. And the pottery which was used during this period was black and red ware. So this is one of the example of black and red ware. So you can note down these facts, and these are the facts for Chalcolithic period taken from NCERT. Then what are important? Pre-Harappan phase of Kalibangan, Kot Diji and Banawali are also Chalcolithic period. So as I said that the Chalcolithic period was spread, and some of its parts were pre-Harappan and other parts were post-Harappan. So the pre-Harappan phases of Kalibangan, Kot Diji and Banawali are Chalcolithic. And then Ganeshwar was also contemporary. Ganeshwar is a site near Khetri mines, so it was contemporary to Harappan civilization. They used to provide copper to Harappan people. So at this site, a lot of copper objects has been found. And what are those? Those are arrowheads, spearhead, fish hooks, bangles, etc. And microlith has been also found. And OCP is also found. What is OCP? OCP stands for ochre colored pottery. So these are the things found there, and they were contemporary of Harappan people, the Gyaneshwar people. And then we'll come to Malwa culture. They were not contemporary to Harappan people, and some of the sites here is Navda Toli, Iran and Nagda are non-Harappan, and Jorve culture was also non-Harappan. Then we come to Banas Valley in Rajasthan. So here two sites are there, Ahar and Giland. So Ahar was basically named Tambavati previously. So as you know, Tamba means copper. So predominantly copper was used to make tools here, and this site was located very near to Khetri mines in Rajasthan, and that is why copper was available in abundance and it was used. But the story of Giland is different. Stone blade industry was more compared to copper. Then another site in Maharashtra which is important, and it comes under Jorve culture, is the Daimabad. And Daimabad is the largest Jorve site, and a number of bronze object has been found. And as you can see, this beautiful figurines is made up of copper, and it is found from Daimabad. Okay, so it also tells about their practice of agriculture. Then one important site is Inamgaon. So it is a site near Pune, and large mud houses with oven and circular pits houses has been found here. A house with 5 rooms has been found. So big houses were there, probably for the head of the tribes. And then they also followed some unique burial practices. Unlike Harappan, no burials were distributed here. There were no particular site where all burials were made. In many cases, burials were inside the courtyard of the house, and the town or city, not town but the village was fortified. And two important points which we can learn from Chalcolithic culture is, in southern India, Chalcolithic culture was followed by megalithic culture. Okay, so this is important point. And then Ganga Yamuna Doab was inhabited for the first time during this period. So this is also important. So this was all about the Chalcolithic culture. Now we will move to Indus Valley Civilization, and we will just have a brief introduction, and tomorrow we will see it in detail. So first, the introduction. So see, if you don't know all these things, what is civilization and what is culture, what is tradition, then I will suggest you should try to find out. Okay, but I will tell what do you mean by civilization, why we don't call the Chalcolithic civilization, why we called Chalcolithic culture, and why we are talking about Indus Valley civilization, then Egyptian civilization or Sumerian civilization. So basically, a civilization is something which has its own language, okay, and it is associated with cities. Then there it is also associated nowadays with architecture. It has a distinct architecture of itself, and the size of settlement is very large. Then urbanization and civilization are more or less similar. So this will give you some idea of civilization. What do you mean by civilization? So these are some of the features of civilization. Then see, the Indus Valley Civilization was called the first urbanization. The very first urbanization in India happened during Harappan period. Okay, but the second urbanization, that was also very much important, and that started to happen after a long period of time, a long gap, and that happened during pre-Mauryan era, during 600 BC to 300 BC. Okay, when Janpada and Mahajanpada will come into existence. So during that period, a lot of cities were formed, like Vaishali and Patliputra, etc. So that we will also deal when we will discuss pre-Mauryan era. So now Indus Valley was a Bronze Age civilization. And how is bronze made? It is made by smelting of copper and tin. So they were aware how to make bronze, but the quality of bronze was not that good. Why it was not good? Because the paucity of tin was not available. Although copper was available from the Khetri mines, but tin was not available locally. So it was brought from Afghanistan or maybe Hazaribagh in Jharkhand. So that is why the paucity of tin was there. So the quality of bronze is not that good here. So Chalcolithic culture, as I discussed, copper plus stone, and Indus Valley was a bronze culture. So this fact also we discussed, that Harappan culture is older than the Chalcolithic culture, but was far more developed than the Chalcolithic culture. Now we'll come to 1920, when the very first city of Indus Valley civilization, that is Harappa, was excavated. The excavation started under the guidance of Daya Ram Sahni. So you should remember this name. In 1920, the very first city which was excavated, or the excavation started, was Harappa, and it was under Daya Ram Sahni. And in 1921, R.D. Banerjee started excavation of Mohenjo-daro. So this is important. And in 1924, John Marshall made formal announcement regarding discovery of Harappan civilization. So all this fact I have taken from a book by Upinder Singh. So that is a very bulky and very good book, but I have not discussed all the facts because you don't need all those facts. So whatever important facts are there, I will discuss. Then one more important point, Mortimer Wheeler is also associated with Mohenjo-daro, and during the time of partition, he was the head of the Archaeological Survey of India. So you should remember this, and he also contributed a lot to this development. Then one more point, I have made three tables. First, the location of this civilization was near Sindh and Punjab province of Pakistan, from where it spread to south and east. Initially, it was located in Sindh and Punjab, near Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, you can say, and Mehergarh. From Mehergarh it started, and it spread to other parts, that is south and east. So in this map you can see this. Here is Mehergarh, and here is Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. So you can see all these area. This is the area of Indus Valley civilization. So it extends from Balochistan to Gujarat, and then here Kashmir, and some part of western UP also comes under this civilization. Till Meerut it extends. So this is one important point. Punjab, Haryana, Sindh, Balochistan, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and fringes of Uttar Pradesh. So this is the expanse of this civilization. Then this civilization was bigger than Egypt and Mesopotamia. The region was also called Meluha by those people. Okay, so you might be knowing immortals of Meluha. So actually the Meluha was this land. Okay, so see, the size of Egyptian civilization and Mesopotamian civilization, and compare it with the size of Indus Valley Civilization. So Indus Valley Civilization was very big as compared to Egyptian civilization and big compared to Mesopotamian civilization. So this is the second fact which I wanted to share. And the third fact is, so this area where this civilization existed was called Sapta Sindhu. So you might be knowing Punjab has 5 rivers and Indus is one of the rivers. So you have 6 rivers. So which was the seventh one? So seventh river was Ghaggar and Hakra channel, or we call it a Saraswati River. So this river, it dried out. So recently, few months ago, there was a survey by KS Valdia committee, which confirmed that Saraswati River existed. So it was in news, so a question might come. Okay, so this was the seventh river, and that is why this area was called Sapta Sindhu. And here, this dotted line, if you can see, this was the channel of Ghaggar and Hakra River or Saraswati River. So this was one fact. So I will discuss this civilization in detail tomorrow in the next video. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and give your feedback in comment whether we should continue this series or not.